It's those little things that we forget, right? Because we get caught up in all of the mess. So I'm just saying, as a people, we all need to do better, but we can't do better when we don't pay attention to the details. And sometimes the details is overwhelming because it's the details. We don't think those little things matter, but bro, they matter. What up? What up? Hey, we are back at it
What's up?
again. Welcome to this week's edition of A Father's Heart podcast with Sean and Cole and George.
Brother George. Man. Listen, fellas, how was your Christmas?
Hey, it was good, man. I spent quite a bit on the freeway.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew it was far, but I didn't know how far. So we drove to North Carolina, spent a few days there. Then we drove to South Carolina. But coming back, bro, it took me about 17 hours, man.
17 hours?
What's typical?
My bad.
Fix your face. Fix your face.
What was it supposed to take?
It should have took about 12, 14, maybe.
17 is a little extended then.
Yeah. Did y'all have a lot of rest breaks?
No, I wasn't like judging you.
I'm
just saying.
Okay, yeah.
I understand why you made.
That's all. Little rest breaks, right?
Listen, I'm getting older. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not in a rush.
How old are you?
Ooh, that's
I'm
good.
just not in a rush. You know what I mean? I'm not in a rush to get anywhere. So, but yeah, it was cool, man. We spent it down in South Carolina and North Carolina, man. It was real cool, man. Spending it with the family, bro. Word up, it was dope. Yeah.
Okay.
How about you guys, man?
Man, I chilled at the crib.
That's all.
I was wrapped in the blankets, baby.
You was wrapped in the blanket? Hey, ain't nothing
I was
wrong
wrapped in the blankets.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah,
George,
it was nice.
I mean, you got about 80 kids,
I got 4, and it did what it was supposed to do. I'm not a holiday person, but it did what it was supposed to do. It did what it was supposed to do. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah, whatever that means.
Right? Okay, I can tell you what it means. Like, holidays for me are different, you know what I'm saying, because of my line of work. So, you know what I'm saying?
I guess
not as relaxing or, I don't want to say enjoyable, because I definitely enjoy time with the family and whatnot, but it's not as laid back.
Got it.
Typically, people are in kind of shutdowns, breakdowns, vacations, days off, Christmas break, and stuff like that. And that's not always the case. I do take some time off, but sometimes the holidays can bring crisis, different things of that nature that I have to get into. That's it. That's all I mean.
So that's why you was on the news last week, because you
we were on the news. Why you acting like you was my choice?
Talk about that a little bit.
Yo, did you hear him dropping jewels about trauma and all that? Yeah, I was just sitting there like, yo.
You definitely was just sitting there, and I'm hitting him on the leg like, Sean, say something. Come on.
Come on. Listen, because this is the thing, bro. Listen, I understand my lane, bro. Right? Like the questions that she was asking, yes, I can shed some light. I can give, some insight, the whole nine. But in a space like that, bro, like that's where he thrived best. So why would I no, I'm in the spotlight. No, bro, I can digress.
Yeah,
I can digress.
Moving on. What's the subject for the night? Because we
I got
too much spotlight. We don't need that.
I got one. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it, baby.
Bam.
Well,
I was scrolling.
Yeah. So, Sean, you got to give the viewers some context.
Yes, I was scrolling. I was scrolling on the internet. And this popped up, and it was a whole lot of dialogue going on about this image right here. And I was like, yo, this is interesting, right? And what people were saying is that they were like, the women were talking about the men showing their money, but the dudes was like, yo, you tripping on us showing our money. But you guys are showing your body parts the same way we are exploiting or showing our money or whatever the case. So I thought it would be a great conversation tonight where I see your face, Cole.
Oh, you can still see my face?
Yes,
my
I
bad.
see your face. So that was the thing, right? So, I saw it, and so I'm like, I think this would be a great conversation because you have one group saying, "Hey, you flashing all of this bread. You whack. And the dude's like, yo, you're no different than me because you're showing your body and you want attention, you want likes, you want clicks, and all of that type of stuff, right? And so I just want to bring that to you guys on what is your thoughts, right? And I'll start with you, Cole. Like, what is
I knew you were
your
gonna
thoughts?
start with me.
Oh, absolutely. So what is your thoughts on this image?
Well, I think there's a couple things going on right here, right? Because it says, can you pull it back up again? It says these two images are equally corny. So I think if we could just leave the picture up for just a little while, Sean, leave it up for a little. But I mean, to unpack that is again pretty heavy, right? Because then it goes back to the narrative. So when we have these images that are constantly, our community is constantly being displayed as, when you have young men who are showing money like that, and you have women who are dressed in this, maybe for some people they might say provocative, for some people that might be, no, I'm headed to the gym, so this is gym wear, so I think it's all a mix of interpretation. But I think even when we look at those fellas that's showing their money, there's also a guy that's in that image who has his pants really low, so if he were to turn around a little bit, I mean, we might be exposed to his backside. So I think for me, when I look at these kind of images, I often have to talk about who's the person that's showing the image, right? What's the purpose of the image, and then who gets to interpret the image. So I think a lot of times this material can be interpreted in a variety of ways without the person who's actually in the picture being able to talk about what it's about. But I think at the same time, the narrative has always been around this concept for boys of color to get money, to have money, and in order to be a man, you must have money, and then you got to display the money so people know that you are the man. And then if we want to move in the image of the woman, it's the same kind of concept. Men want to see women dress provocatively. They want to have a big butt. I mean, all of these narratives that tell us that our outward appearance is who we really are versus our inward appearance. So I think as a father, I mean, because we are talking about being fathers in this space too, I think that's where these kind of images really our children have to understand where these images are coming from, and how, a lot of this stuff is propaganda, but most importantly, it's a false reality of who we are. But again, if that's the only narrative and the story that I see in my community, it's the only story that I see on television, it's the only story that's written, then why wouldn't I want to be the guy that's having the money if I know the money is going to equal out to having access to all of these other things when I'm coming from a space of poverty? So I think it's a host of things, man. So it's not just that image. It's a heavy thing to unpack.
It is, George.
I mean, I got a few different perspectives on it. One, for a certain, and this is not,
and I see some other people just pop on there. We're talking about this image that we saw, right, on social media, and this is what we're talking about tonight, and getting our perspectives on this image and the narrative.
Yeah, and I think the narrative, that's a important thing to say, because in a certain element of people, one thing attracts the other. You get the money, you get the girl with the fat behind, you know what I'm saying, with the big behind, with the curvy behind and stuff like that. You flash your behind, you get the guy with the money and different things like that. But I think that images like this, or even, let me say, discussions like this, definitely keeps us collectively off of things that should be being discussed, right? And what I mean by that is, we spend a lot of time, and I do it, you know what I'm saying? I don't spend a lot of time, but we spend a lot of time conversing, dialoguing on things on social media about what someone else is doing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see or know how that pushes us together. Like, there are a lot of different things individually and collectively that we can be discussing to push us forward. Let me say it a different way. Black people are behind, right? We behind in all major, you know what I'm saying? And you got your spots here and different things like that. You got your people here killing it and different things like that. But when you look at it in terms of education, you look at it in terms of financial literacy or finances in general, land ownership, and different things like this, we're behind. And I think conversations like that, like it's this one that keeps coming up, where it asks the woman, "Who do you fix a plate first, your father or your husband?" Or your vice versa. They'll ask the man, "Who comes first, your mother or your daughter?" And while everybody has their traditions and have their cultures and different things of that nature, all of that stuff is a case by case basis. You know what I'm saying? Like we was at my in laws the other day, and it's my wife Daddy house. Like she put him a plate together before she put mine. Like I didn't pull her to the side and say, "Hey, you belong." You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's going on? You know, you belong to me because I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? My kids was there. My son is 7 years old. I'm 44 years old. So she fixed him a plate. They had a Mexican spread. She fixed him a plate. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't tripping, but there are people who takes it as a sign of disrespect that your wife won't fix you a plate for she fixed the kid. I don't care about that. If I'm at the house, who gets the last piece of chicken, your husband or your kids? If they hungry, get the chicken. Or if I get home first, I'm gonna get the chicken. And ain't nobody tripping. But these conversations happen so much. Sorry about that. These conversations happen so much, and it's like, how is this moving the needle? Right? Like what are we doing? Furthermore, what are we so obsessed or concerned with what's going on over there when we all know? Well, let me talk about me. I know I got a ton of stuff I could be working on, need to be working on, should be working on. But sometimes, you know what I'm saying, I want to shine the spotlight over there so I can ignore what I got going on that's I've procrastinated on, or that's been stagnant, or that hasn't been moving like I wanted to move. You know what I'm saying? And I really think, like, you know what I'm saying, and I really don't want to sound like New Year's resolution-y. I made that word up. But like as the new year come for myself and everybody, like we gotta, you know, step back and take the opportunity to refocus. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? There's always room for progress, but there has to be action behind it. Not just dialogue, not just conversation, not just words, but it got to be action behind it. So I know that was a whole rant. But,
no,
you know,
no,
so,
I think that was,
Not at all.
I think that was on point, right? I think that was on point for many reasons, right? Like, um, we sometimes begin to focus on what is not important.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say not important, right? Because that's, you know, that's relative, right? To me, it's not important,
Right.
but to somebody else, that's extremely important. And them, without them engaging in that conversation, they may never grow. So that may be important for them, just because I'm like, man, my appetite for that has changed. Because at one point, I would have been engaged in that same conversation, right? And so because your appetite changes and you grow, you know, you just don't get caught up in that anymore. But I love how you're bringing a different twist to it, because I think as a people, that I think it is an indictment on us, sometime as a collective, on how so many of us are behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
How so many of us are behind the eight ball, right? You know, I just thought about it, like, as much as I, you know, do all this training and developing people and all that, I can sometime, if I'm not intentional, I could sometime forget the moments of even educating my own children.
Yeah. It's easy to
right?
do.
Because I'm just going, doing it for them, feeding them, doing this. Like, yo, Sean, you haven't even taught them, right? So right before we came here, I went to the bank and made a deposit, and my son wanted to know how much was in his account. And I was about to tell him, pull up on my phone and show him. I'm like, whoa, bro, evidently he doesn't know. So it's your job, Dad, to have him talk to this teller and know how to communicate to find out how much his balance is. Yeah. And can he get a receipt? And I had to make a deposit, and he had to sign his own name, right? So it's those little things that we forget, right? Because we get caught up in all of the mess. So I'm just saying, as a people, we all need to do better, but we can't do better when we don't pay attention to the details. Yeah. And sometimes the details is overwhelming because it's the details. Yeah. We don't think those little things matter. Yeah. But bro, they matter.
Just want to get done.
You just you just want to get done. So my man, in these images, right? Like again, you look at the image. This woman, we don't know how she. At one point, she probably didn't feel good about herself.
Yep.
Or
when they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, you really don't understand the magnitude of that statement. I'm gonna tell you why. Because all you see is a still frame of what's happening at that exact moment. You don't know the before, you don't know what's happening during, and you don't know what happened after. Everybody has a story, and until we get that in our mind, we will consistently focus, judge, have preconceived notions about people we have no idea about. We don't know about that lady. We don't know about the two gentlemen with that money. You don't know what kind of money they have had or haven't had to make them feel like this is what I need to do to show my value or to show my worth. Man. You know what I'm saying? You don't know about the environment. So things that are not normal to you may not necessarily be abnormal to somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? Like if that's all they around, what else are they supposed to know?
Come on, man.
We judge so quick. We judge. We make our assumptions so quick based off of everything but facts. Everything but facts.
You took everything that I was just about to say. So no, don't. There's no need. No, I think you said it all because I think that's the essence of it, right? I think we just have to be careful that we don't attach stories and our own personal biases and our own narratives of things that we have been we've seen programmed in us, so that when we do see a still image, that we don't add a story or a narrative to the story. So a caption to a picture can change the whole narrative, and again, you miss what that could. I mean, that young woman could have been a cheerleader. I mean, there's just a variety of ways that you can twist the story when it's just an image that goes along with it. And I think that's part of the problem that we have when I think about how a lot of people in my work see young men of color from the space of an image. I mean, we see an image, and then before you know, we have boxed them into this narrative. Then that narrative equals or equates to criminality, and now this young man now is a criminal just from the image because it's so programmed in our daily experiences. And so I think that's, George, what you said is just that's the gift of what we do as fathers. And your great illustration, Sean, from having your son move from you just telling him, but having him have the experience of being able to walk through it. And I think again, when we've got young men who are flashing money, for a lot of people that's poor Black people, but we move past that. That's the culture, it's culturally relevant in the music industry to flash money and show money. So that could just be a part simply of the music culture or whatever culture that these young brothers are operating out of that they believe in. It doesn't lessen their potential. It doesn't lessen who they are as individuals. And so I think, again, we have to move out of those narratives. Very similar to, George, what you were just saying, who gets the first meal? Is that my wife or my mother? These gender narratives that tell us, this is what you can do and what you can't do. You're a gatekeeper to this.
Just because they've been doing it. Just because that's how we always doing it. That doesn't mean it works. The way we're supposed to keep doing it.
Yeah, not at all. So I was going to say to you, even to that, I'm like, that's new age.
Yeah.
Because for me, I heard grandfathers saying, "Oh no, this is the role of women, and this is what a woman is supposed to do." From a very, from my grandfather's age and time, but that's not the new age, and most men that I know don't operate out of that narrative. Yeah. So I think it's just important for us to be able to make sure we're having these kind of conversations, but also elevating the narrative that just because we see these images doesn't mean we know the story, and that makes sense to me.
That's right. One thing that I try to say as often as I can. I say it every time I'm speaking somewhere. I say it to every client I've ever had at some point. I say it in every social media platform I have it's one of my favorite sayings, and it actually changed my life when I first heard it about 10, 12 years ago. And it's sometimes you have to unlearn some things to learn some things.
Yeah, that's
good.
Anything
learned can be unlearned, and things can be so strong. And when I talk about strong, I'm talking about the culture, I'm talking about traditions, and I'm talking about different things. And they can be so strong that you take these things that are ingrained or indoctrinated in you, and they will not work. Listen to me. They will not work week after week, month after month, year after year. And because it's ingrained and you have just, internalized it as truth and the only way, you will find yourself in repeated cycles of pain, torment, and hurt and disappointment all because that's all I know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
another cliche statement: when you know better, what?
Do better.
You do better.
And I agree to that to some extent because I have known a lot and didn't do better at all. So I think it's a combination of knowing better and being willing to unlearn, like you just said, all the things that I have learned, admit that I need to do something different. Just because I know better don't mean I'm gonna do better.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's hard work because I'll be like, woo, Cole, you got some habits, brother.
Yeah, you know what? You know, it's funny you say that, man. The leadership group with the fellas, man, the guys that we work with, through the disc. One of the aspects of understanding the disc, one of the rules is that awareness equals options, right? That's what I tell them is that when you are aware of something, now you have options.
Yeah.
So if I'm not aware of my blind spots, if I'm not aware of these behaviors that's causing me to fail, because if I'm only used to this and only exposed to this, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
But when I find an alternative, when I'm aware that there are other alternatives, now I have an option.
Yep.
Right. So now I can apply you know better. Now you have the opportunity to do better once you take action on that information.
It lessens your justifications, it lessens your excuses, it lessens every other reason besides you made a decision to do what you was gonna do.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. You know what I mean? So just thinking about, you know, of my initial of bringing that photo up, I think is what you guys bringing up these other ways to viewing this is powerful, right? Because it's so easy and so many people are looking at that image as exactly what that image is instead of like, yo, extending grace.
Yep.
And like, yo, what does this picture really, really mean? And should we be spending so much time talking about this image? If you spending your time talking about this image, number one, you are not taking care of your own business, right? You sitting there watching somebody else when you can be taking care of your own or repositioning or getting yourself in a position to take action.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I'm giving out W-9s or 1099s for people that want to be in my business. So if you want to know, you're going to get taxed on that, baby. So stop getting in my business. You're going to get a 1099.
But that's real. That's real.
Basically, you spend too much time in that, man. I want to be uplifted and supported and encouraged. And I want to be able to have the opportunity to do the same for you. But again, Sean, you said it best. Awareness really is important because sometimes we operate out of a lack of awareness and knowledge, and we believe that the things that we've been doing, that we continue to do, that we've learned, is always the right way to go and to do them. Over time, I'm unlearning so many things that I've learned in my teens and 20s, in my 30s that I'm unlearning at 40. I'm like, oh man, I thought that's the way to go, and learning that isn't it. So 40s is teaching me something completely different.
I have more questions every day. I say it all the time. Like I used to think the older I got, the more answers I would have. But the older I get, the more questions I got. You know what I'm saying? So like I try to be as open as possible and be I call it a forever learner. Like I'm open to new information. We talked about that last time, but I had to be because when I was stuck in my ways and when I was stubborn and when I was stuck, I'm stagnant. Wasn't moving. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't moving. I wasn't progressing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying it like I was down in the dumps. I was doing okay, but like, who want to do okay forever? I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do okay forever. I want to do better than okay. About 10 years ago, I was going through a terrible, terrible storm, and Sean kept saying something to me that would irritate my soul. He would irritate my soul, and he kept correct.
Sean, you do. Let's just keep going, George.
I'm keep going. And the statement bro kept making was trust the process. You don't want to hear that when you in the process,
Yep.
right?
I
You know
heard
what I'm
that.
saying? I want to get to the end.
Really
Like,
cool.
you know what I'm saying? I want this,
I've heard,
you know what I'm
Sean,
saying? What I was going through at the time,
Sean.
I
Keep going,
want this
George.
over with. I want it over with. I don't like the pain. I don't like the hurt. I don't like the torture. I don't like the torment. I don't like how I feel. And this situation in particular took about 8-9 months. And I swear this bald-headed every single day almost. Trust the partner. And I'm like, what the hell do that mean? Like, bro, I'm broken. Like, I'm hurting. Like, this is disgusting. Like, I don't like what I see. I don't like what I hear. I don't like what I feel. And every day, bro, trust the process.
Yeah.
Now,
That's the process.
On the other side of that, when I'm looking and saw how valuable, how significant, and how vital the process was, because I'm gonna tell you something. Had I went through that without those details that I did not like, I wouldn't have learned what I needed to learn. But you only see that on the other side, which brings to the importance of the term trust the process. Trust is about things that you don't see, things that you don't know, things that's it not what it looks like, not what it feels like. You know what I'm saying? And so you know what I'm saying? Trust. That's what trust is about. So you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And for men, for fathers in particular, it's a lot of stuff, and that's gonna happen in life that's gonna cause a dart or a little smudge on your trust. You know what I'm saying? But that don't mean that you ain't gonna have to do it over and over and over and over again. Y'all know my story. I got kids multiple ages. Oldest 21, the youngest is 7. That's a lot of trusting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about them in particular, but I have to learn to trust myself, because guess what? Prior to this, I was never a father before.
Yep.
And I'm 21 years in and still feel like most days, I'll say most days, I'm transparent. I'll say most days, I still feel like I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
Man.
And a lot of decisions that you make, you don't know if they're the right decision until after you make them.
To the other side.
The other side.
Gotta make them.
Yeah.
Father.
Yeah. Tone said, "Oh, the horn again." Yeah. I gave him the horn, Tone. I gave him the horn, Tone. He got a horn from me.
Trust the process, people.
Trust the process.
That don't feel good hearing that when you're in it.
Yeah.
But there is the other side. That's it.
So as we come to a close,
man, that time.
That's good.
Time moves, man.
That's good.
I have a legit or not legit. So the family and I was playing basketball this weekend.
I saw.
And I refused to let them win. Wife and the kids, I'm out there blocking shots. I'm scoring. I'm doing everything. I won all the games except for around the world. My thing is, it was supposed to be a family vacation.
Okay.
Me time. They can't dribble as well as I can. And I'm not saying I'm a great dribbler, right?
Okay.
But they can't dribble as well. Okay. But I'm playing kind of like lockdown D and grabbing rebounds. Is that legit or not legit not to let them jokers get anything off?
Well, I'm going to take it back to you, Sean, because you said something about your son asking you a question about, his money. And you was like, well, son, better yet than me tell you, how do I put you in a position so you can learn? So I wonder, what did you do on the court to help them learn?
Oh,
he ate you. I didn't see that coming, Cole. I'm not going to lie. He ate you. No, answer the question. Don't grab me.
All right. And then there was...
He just ate you alive.
Did you just do that?
Just something to think about.
Listen, I didn't ask you what was your thoughts and your I just asked you, was it legit or not legit? And here you gonna try to preachify me.
Just something to think about.
All right, my answer ain't gonna be nearly as thought provoking or.
So I already know what
that.
yours was. Yours is not legit because I was not
legit.
trying to teach.
That ain't legit.
This is very rare, but I'm gonna disagree with Cole, and I'm gonna say it's legit because of two reasons. Number one, of your children's age, they're a little bit older. And number two, because it is a real world out there. And I learned personally that a lot of times you think you're protecting and sheltering your children and stuff. What you're really doing
and wives. Because she had to get that work too.
I feel like you be handicapping them. So when they go out into the world, you know what I'm saying, they can't operate because you didn't show them the real world.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody is nice. So
Leah needs to know the real world.
Okay. So a combination.
It's a combination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah. It's fluid. It's fluid.
Hey,
it's
just
fluid.
for that, he gets a bicycle horn.
That's new.
Yeah. he gets a bicycle horn.
George, I've been on this thing for a minute. I don't think I got one horn. Sean has never given me nothing.
You saying he's doing favoritism? That's not right.
Yeah,
that's not right, man. Give him a horn, man.
No, I don't.
That's a sympathy horn.
Hey, but listen to your horn.
Oh, that's a tricycle boy.
That's the one. No, the ones that blow.
For birthdays?
Yes.
5 and under?
Listen. They're retracted.
It's all good. I know what it is, Sean.
See you later.